Good morning and welcome back. Time now is 6:48. Big news coming out of Peel Region this morning. A major announcement saying all businesses in the region with 5 or more recent COVID cases that occurred in the workplace, those workplaces will be ordered to shut down. So there are a lot of questions on this. Joined now by Peel's Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Lawrence Lowe. Good morning to you.
Morning, Melanie.
Okay, this is significant, and I have no doubt this has been in the works for some time. As we know, Peel Region, a lot of the infections are workplace-driven. Just how significant is it to give our viewers context on how many cases are happening in the workplace?
So we have over 400 workplace outbreaks in the region of Peel right now because many of our businesses have stayed open throughout all of the lockdowns and shutdowns. We've known for a long time that workplace transmission is a significant driver within our community. The game has changed with the variants, and what we're seeing in our workplace outbreaks is more cases spreading more quickly throughout a workplace. And so this measure, an expedited business closure, is being brought into place to ensure that we are able to stay ahead of the variants and keep workers in our community safe.
So can we define which workplaces you're talking about?
So we do have a list of exemptions around the closures, but really at this point in time, it's any workplace in the region of Peel, 5 or more cases that could reasonably have been acquired on site, or that for which there's no alternative explanation. Those are workplaces that would be potentially subject to this automatic closure while we complete our investigation. Now, like I said, there are exemptions, and we've exempted critical services such as grocery stores, pharmacies, healthcare facilities, critical infrastructure like wastewater, water, transportation, and shelters. But the list is fairly limited, and we do know that we continue to see more and more workplace outbreaks in places like manufacturing, distribution, food processing, and other sort of businesses where people have to work in person that really continue to make people sick and are sending people to hospital at this point in time.
So, Dr. Lowe, to clarify, some of these businesses that you mentioned, like manufacturing, would they be exempt or would they be included in these closures?
So absolutely, it's really important, and thank you, Melanie, for clarifying. We have a very short list of exemptions that we're reviewing in the course of developing our Section 22, but we do know that for manufacturing, for warehousing, for distributing, there would likely not be an exemption. Of course, there is an exemption for our discretion, at least as public health, in the event that we, conduct our investigation and determine that this pattern of spread is not consistent with the need for a closure. But because the variant spread so quickly, we are just finding that it needs to be 5 cases. If it's linked to the workplace in some form or another, we need to move to close, and we need to move to investigate and keep people safe.
Looking at a timeline, Dr. Lowe, Region of Peel tweeting the first closure could be ordered as soon as April 23rd. Okay, so we're on the 20th today, and that is for which reason? To notify employees and employers?
That's correct. I mean, we've generally tried to give at least 3 days notice to our community when we're bringing new changes in. It also gives us an opportunity to finalize both the section order, which will be released later today, as well as to identify which businesses or businesses that are either currently under investigation or awaiting assignment for investigation that might then be subject to the new provisions.
Key part of this release saying that absent of legislated paid sick days, we know there's a fight going on at Queen's Park, employers required to close under these provisions are strongly recommended to provide paid leave for impacted employees. Strongly recommended. Interesting wording here. And do you believe that employers will do that?
Well, I'm really hopeful that employers will understand why this measure is being taken. We are seeing that when COVID-19 gets into our workplaces, it is spreading further and faster with the variants that are circulating in our community. And we're hoping that if they are closed with the provisions of this order, if they are taking that step to keep our community safe, that they'll take care of their employees who are also doing the right thing to keep the residents of Peel, free from COVID-19.
Very quickly for you, what will enforcement look like? What if there is a big giant company, I'm not going to say their names, that wants to stay open and are willing to accept some sorts of fines? How do you enforce stay-at-home order?
Well, I mean, I think leaving aside the ramifications of, basically publicly, because we will be listing workplaces that are closed under these provisions, so they'll know that they were ordered to be closed. So leaving aside the public outcry that they're not necessarily playing along with a measure designed to keep our community safe, there are provisions within the Section 22 order, including fines and also additional escalations that we would contemplate if a workplace was to be closed, but maybe did not do so in accordance with these measures.
Okay, this is a significant move, and I know you've had a very busy morning. A lot of people have these same questions. Dr. Lawrence Loh, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks for having me today.
All right, your time right now is 6:53, coming up after the break. We still have a lot of questions, and a lot of people have questions about this shot. The AstraZeneca one in Ontario begins rolling out to anyone 40 and over as of today. We are going to break down the numbers when it comes to risk versus benefit with a doctor up next.